Welcome back to Homeschool Life. I'm Paula, and one of the things that I love about homeschooling is the community. You know, we all learn from each other and we all share with each other. And so that's what we're here to do. We're providing you a platform for conversation where this is a place where you can grow and learn and share and encourage each other. So we're going to talk about everything from curriculum and how-tos and tips and tricks and day-to-day lifestyle, just everything. So today we're going to talk about learning styles, and particularly we're going to focus on your visual spatial learners. And so if you're just curious about learning styles, if you're like me, when I started homeschooling, I knew nothing about learning styles. I didn't even know they existed. It's really an important part of your homeschooling life. So what is a learning style? So a learning style is simply how we learn. It's how we process things the best. It's the method that we intake it in so that we can integrate it into our lives, and then we can use it however it needs to be used. So the reason that it's really important that you learn each of your kids' learning styles is so that you can select your curriculum and you can teach accordingly to their different learning styles. And so this just helps your day to run a lot smoother. It's because often when we have struggles in homeschooling, it is due to personality conflicts, it is due to misunderstandings, miscommunications, and just general your children not understanding what you're trying to teach them. It's sort of like trying to put a square peg into a round hole. And so when you learn your children's learning styles and you can tweak your curriculum and your teaching to that learning style for each of your kids, that helps you to have a more efficient and effective technique. You have less frustration, and because it improves the speed and quality of learning for your kids. So let me give you an example, okay? When I started homeschooling, I am very visual, and my oldest is very visual. And I did not know that at the time, but when I started teaching her, it just went really smooth and easy. And I thought, wow, this is great, you know? And so it's going to be like this with all of my children. Well, comes along child number 2, and I start teaching her the exact same way that I taught my first daughter. And it was not working well at all. And she just was very frustrated. There was tears some days, and there was tears on my part some days. One day I asked my husband, I said, please sit down and watch me and tell me, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing differently that she's not getting it like her sister did? And so he watched a couple of days in a row, and he said, I don't see anything different. You're using the same curriculum, you're teaching the same way, I don't see anything different. So we continued, and then I went to a homeschool convention that year, and I went to several different workshops, and the very end of the very last day, my husband wanted to go into a legal workshop, and I thought, you know, I'm just going to check out this learning styles. What is that anyway? And as I sat in that 1-hour workshop, light bulbs started going on, and I was just like, oh my goodness, this is my husband, and oh my goodness, that's me, and hey, that's my one daughter, and oh, that's my other child, and it was very exciting, and it was very interesting and very fascinating. And I was able to take that knowledge and the information that they gave us, and I was able to go home, and I was able to just tweak and do a few things different, and all of a sudden, my second child was learning just as easily and rapidly as my older daughter. So that's an example for you of how it can make your homeschool life a lot easier. So there are 4 basic main types of learning styles. There is your visual spatial. So this is where your child will often say, show me. They need to see things. They need to see it to understand it. And they're really good about when they see something, just being able to just quickly integrate that in. There's not a lot of extras that you have to do with them. Now there are some things that you need to not do with them so that you don't provide distractions for them. Second main type is your auditory or your audio. They're called both things. These are your kids who listen. They hear and they speak so that they can hear themselves, and this is how they process. So if you give them visual material, they're not going to get it as well as if they're hearing it. So even if they're reading aloud or you're reading aloud to them, that's a way that you can tweak that. Your kinesthetic tactile learners, that is your third category. These are those children that have to move, and they have to touch everything also. And so that is their method of learning. And if you ask them to sit still, they are not going to learn as well as if you let them wiggle and move around. That's just their way. Now the fourth one is you're probably familiar with, you've heard the right brain, left brain. And so this is your analytical, so like your scientist type of mind, and your abstract. And so this is more of the creative mind, like an artist or a musician. So then within all of these different four main learning styles, you have your social people who really get a lot out of being with other people. They just need that social interaction, and that helps them to process and learn, helps them to relax so that they can learn. And then you have your solitary, your independent. They just want to be somewhere where it's quiet, they want to be by themselves, give them their material so that they can go and they can do it and bring it back to you. Now, there is no right and no wrong learning style. There's just different, right? And we all have a dominant learning style. And remember, it's just how we learn naturally the best way. Now, we are a mix, but as I said, there's one dominant. And so if you can just figure out that one dominant in each of your children, yourself and your spouse, your life will be much easier. So in life, we encounter a mix of styles. And so it is really good to challenge your children, to expose them to the other learning styles, which will naturally happen if you have children of different learning styles, which you probably will. And then when they see how you do things a little bit different with their brother or sister, then they're going to be seeing that different learning style. So this helps them so then they can learn to adapt as they get older, because they're going to be presented information in all kinds of different ways as they're going through school, as they're going through college or vo-tech, or as they're just in their adult life, in their jobs, in their families, in their homes. And so they'll learn how to adapt, and they'll learn how to grow as you just sprinkle in here and there the different learning styles as you teach your kids throughout the years. Okay, so does this mean that you don't have to, or that you have to use the same curriculum with all of your kids? Let me pause and say that again. Does this mean you can't use the same curriculum with all of your kids? No, you can use the same curriculum. You'll just learn how to tweak it a little bit for this one or that one, okay? So you're just going to teach a little bit differently. Maybe you're together subjects, okay? So like history, science, and Bible. And then you're going to tailor those individual courses like math and science. So, for instance, let's say for science, you read aloud, you have your children all with you. You're reading aloud the text, and your visual can read over your shoulder or next to you, or maybe they're taking notes while you're doing that. At the same time, because you're reading aloud, your auditory child is hearing the information, and so they're intaking it. And then your kinesthetic learner, they can just be sitting there, and they could be like maybe playing with some Legos or something while they're listening to you, and they will actually be learning at the same time. So what is your goal here? Your goal is education that sticks. And it's not a big chore or difficult thing to teach so that all of your kids can learn in their best way. It's a lot of fun and figuring out your kids and their individual personalities. So let's talk specifically now in this post, and then I'll talk about the other ones in other posts. But let's talk about the visual, the show me. All right, visual learners that think like a traditional classroom. You know, the teacher shows the students what to do, and then the students do it. The teacher gives them workbooks and textbooks that they read, and then they answer questions or take tests. This is the show me part of visual learners. So again, they're going to retain that information best through seeing it. So they love to read texts, see images. It can be color or black and white. Pictures, flashcards, workbooks, using videos and visual media. These are all ways that they learn really well. They like to take notes and doodle during lessons, and they enjoy graphs and maps, charts, and timelines as well. They memorize well because they can see, when they see the words, when they see in print, whatever it is, they just have a way of knowing that they're not photogenic, but they just know. So they know at a glance. They can look at something and know if they've previously seen that or read that somewhere. When I was growing up, I used to go to a bookstore and I used to get comic books all the time. And I would sit there on the floor with a pile of comic books and I would just be sorting them, and by the cover only, I knew, yes, I've read that, no, I haven't, yes, I have, no, I haven't. And I thought everybody did that. So generally, visual learners are great test takers because they kind of memorize it long enough to take the test, but then the fault is that they dump it on the test and then they forget it. So if you ask them a week later, they might remember, but if you ask them a month or a year later, unless they've applied it in their life some way, generally they're not going to remember exactly that. And they would want to refer back to their notes to give you a proper answer. So they can be distracted by visual stimuli, so very easily. So like a bird flying by, a person walking through the room, also somebody going up and down stairs nearby, just anything that's movement, that can be a visual distraction. If you've got a child over in a room nearby and they're watching a video for their school subject, if your visual can see that of their peripheral, that's going to be a distraction to them as well. So just keep some of these things in mind. Your visual learner tends to be quiet and needs to be coaxed to answer questions. And then when they do answer questions or they're trying to remember information to just tell you, they'll often close their eyes because whether they realize it or not, they're trying to visualize that and remember it in that way. They like stories and books with detailed language, rich imagery, because they have vivid imaginations. And so as they read this, they can just visualize it. They can imagine it, the voices and the what the person is wearing or what the setting is. And so they tend to be avid readers. They excel with information that is presented to them sequentially, chronologically, and is very organized. They are very detail-oriented, and they find things often that others overlook. So they make great editors because they can catch typos really quick. Normally, they have a large vocabulary at a young age because as they are reading, they're just integrating that, and then because they're avid readers, they're seeing these vocabulary words repeated over and over, whether it's in school or on their own reading. They are excellent copycats. So if you show them how to do something, they're going to be able to do it right away. If you just tell them verbally, they're going to struggle with that. They take copious notes, even as adults. Visually, they're very organized. So they're the type of people that in their room or in their home, everything is in its place and there's a home for everything. It may not always look like that to you. They could be those vertical stackers, but they will be able to find and show you whatever it is you ask them for. They prefer to watch shows or read for fun, and they like challenging puzzles of all different kinds. So it could be book puzzles like crossword puzzles and word scrambles. It could be jigsaw puzzles. They love doing those. Again, it's very visual. And also, they really like anything with the hands, like a Rubik's Cube or any of those that are just those complicated three-dimensional puzzles. So, I have pulled several different examples of curriculum that I would like to share with you and show you. These would be good to try with your visual learner. And again, this is just a sampling. So, I'm going to start with Teach Your Child to Read in 100 Easy Lessons. This just happens to be the book that I used with my first daughter. Then when I was trying it with my second daughter, it did not work because I was having my second daughter just sit there And I was doing this where they point and they sound out. It's phonics based. And my second daughter, when I started letting her wiggle, stand up, do a jumping jack here and there, then she could get it. But it's the same book for both styles. Next, I want to show you and talk to you a little bit about Rod and Staff. So Rod and Staff does an amazing job with their curriculum. They are Mennonite, and so they do not believe in selling their things on the websites. And so legally, you won't find this on anybody's websites, but you can find these in our stores. And I'll just give you a quick look through here. This is English. We carry English and math in our stores. And as you can see, it's just basic black and white text. There's not a lot of fluff in here at all. There's not a lot to visually distract. This is the worksheets that go along with that text. And so it's simple, and your visual learner will do really well with this. And then the tests again. Black and white, simple tests. And so one thing to notice with your visual learner, once you figure that out, figure out if they do better with color or they do better with black and white, maybe just a little bit of color, because there's those variations as well. So Handwriting Without Tears does a really great job as well. And so again, it's just black and white and simple, basic, to the point. BJU Press, English 2, Writing and Grammar. Now this one has got some color, but again, it's simple and there's not a lot of super repetition in it. And it's something that your child can excel with if they are a visual learner. And then this is the tests. All right, let's take a look at what else I have here. Wordly Wise. Wordly Wise has been around for years and years. And again, it's a nice simple format. And visual learners really like this. And again, this is all in print. There's not anything audio to go with this. There's not a lot of manipulatives or anything like that. This is the test booklet. Wordly Wise is known for their pink test booklets. All right. Next, let's look at Writing Strands. This has been put together by Master Books, and they have rewritten some different curriculums, and they've just done a really, really good job. And so again, this one happens to be black and white. It doesn't have a lot of distracting visuals in it for your visual learner. Science. This is Exploring the World of Astronomy. This is a John Hudson Tyner book. And so there will be a little bit of experiments, but as you can see, you've just got quite a bit of text here, a little bit of pictures, and again, that helps your visual to have those pictures as well. Here is the tests that Memora Press has put together for it. Let me find, there we go. Again, simple, basic, to the core. And here is the supplemental student questions. So they read the text, then they pick this up, and they answer these questions that relate directly to whatever chapter or lesson that they have been studying in the text. All right, and for another option for science, could be Apologia. This is Exploring Creation with General Science. So again, there's some visual material in here to help your visual learner as well. And for those who do better with color, this is a great option. Here is the student notebook where they will record their theories and their labs and answer questions for learning. And then the tests. I'm just doing a quick flip through just to show you some options here. Now, move over here. Math. Singapore math is popular with a lot of homeschoolers and has been for a number of years. And I grabbed two different grades. Here's kindergarten. And so again, for your visual learner who just needs to sit there and do their math, and this is a great option. Here is their 4th grade textbook. Whoops, I almost dropped that. 4th grade textbook and 4th grade workbook. I hope you can see that pretty well. Now, another option for math. Is good old Saxon. Saxon has been around forever and ever, it seems like. This is geometry. They've added a little bit of blue color, which can be quite helpful for some of your visual learners. This just helps to break up some of that black and white text. And then a homeschool testing book has your tests here. Again, simple, straightforward, just like what you would use in a classroom. And then another option would be Math Mammoth. Now, Math Mammoth is a really neat newer math curriculum, and this is really a combination, kind of a nice blend of all of the great qualities of Singapore math and Saxon math put together. So that is book 3A. Here is book 3B. And then here is the tests and reviews, cumulative reviews. So those are some options for math. There are others out there as well. I'm making a mess here. Okay, and then history, got a couple of options for you. Alpha Omega makes these Life Pack books. These are all of the books that come inside this Life Pack box, and then I've just pulled out one for you. Some of your kids are going to do really better with this because see how little this is, and they're just going to want to complete this, they can get on to the next one, where if you give them a big book, it just kind of overwhelms them. So this is history and geography. And then here is All-American History, and this is just the student reader. And again, this is another great choice for you for your visual students. So, now, how do you know your kiddos' styles? So there's several different ways. You can watch these videos. Now you can also go online, and there are free learning style assessments that you can take. You can take them for your younger children, have your older children take them themselves. And just through simple questioning and answering, you'll discover those learning styles. You could also go to hslda.org for articles on learning styles. That's Homeschool Legal Defense Association. You could go deeper if you really get into this learning styles and check out this book, The Way They Learn. She goes into a lot more details and really teaches you some different things to look for. She'll suggest things like, pay attention to how your child comes to you. Do they say, show me this or tell me that? So just look for clues like that. Doing experiments, and she really talks about getting to know your learning style and your spouses as well. And then another place that I would recommend that you go is to Dr. Kathy Cook. She's at celebratekids.com, and she has books and she has podcasts. She is a popular homeschool speaker at the different conventions, so you can look those things up online as well, and you can learn from her as well. So in listening to this and thinking about your own family and your own kids, what have you noticed about your kids' different learning styles? What are some things that, if you've already been working in this area, what are some things that you've done to tailor your homeschool and your homeschool life to fit each of your children's different learning styles, and yours and your spouse as well? Share with us so that we can all learn. It's interesting to see and hear how different families and different people do different things. So I hope that this was helpful to you. Again, here at Mardel, we are here to help you and support you and encourage you and provide products for you as well. So you can get all of these products and more at mardel.com and in our stores. Check out our blog for homeschool and lifestyle articles. Thank you for watching. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to watch this. I hope you have a great day and enjoy your homeschool life. Bye for now.